Om Shri Sai Ram. Let's start the study circle with 3 ohms. Om. 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 Dear Swami, we are so grateful to be able to meet here together in your presence today. While we are here together studying your word in your Bhagavata Vahini, we ask that you open our ears and hearts to whatever it is you want us to learn. Please speak through each one of us and help us progress in our spiritual journey. Jai Sai Ram. Sai Ram, just a little housekeeping. Please remember to mute your cell phones. Let's stay on the topic and let's ask the questions that arise. It will be best practice to leave our egos outside of this bhajan hall just to help us learn more. So with that, I was obviously not there last session, so I was just hoping to see we could spend 5 minutes on what we talked about last week. I know that I think you may have read about the power of the mind, but just wanted to see if we could get an idea of what we were talking about, if there is anyone who can add. So I'm going to go ahead and display what this is what it should have been, the infinite capacity of the mind. And I am hoping that this is what was discussed last week, right? Okay. So if that is the case, I mean, I have questions here that we can go ahead and if you want to read it one more time, or we can move on. So with that, I just wanted to bring the discussion out here to see what the group feels.
Just remember that we were talking about how the body and the mind differ. Some of the things the body is able to forget, but the mind keeps it for a very long period of time. So that is what we were talking about, the power and capacity of the mind.
Okay.
So long term, impression is there in the mind, and that is what we need to work on. So that was the thing that we talked about.
Okay. Yeah, Manojji.
So the other thing which the message says that mind plays all these tricks. Mind is so selective. When we beat the picture, the reflection, mind obviously let it happen because it's not affecting the body. But the moment we say that that guy is a bad guy in the reflection, mind takes it onto yourself.
Yeah.
So mind itself is playing that game with us. So we have to train the mind, either take both of it to you or don't take any of those to you.
Got it. Yeah. All right. Any other pointers? Please, Jaybai.
Actually, I have a question about that what he mentioned. It is the same question. Thought of asking many times back. But so when we say train the mind, so the mind itself is thinking. Like, who trains the mind? Mind is the one which is trying to go through the process, right? So where is that another mind comes into the picture? What is the other superficial thing that tells I will train you like this? I mean, it's a question I'm asking.
That itself, yeah. So don't we realize from our experience, don't we always try to reform our own thoughts? We always try to reform our thought process. We try to pinpoint our own mistakes, what you were thinking bad about some situation, what you could have thought differently. We try to always train. That's your own mind is going to train your own mind. No one else is going to come in. So, looking retrospectively, I used to think. I mean, I'm making an example that okay, let's do this thing in this manner. You will do better. Let's take this shortcut. You'll do better. Looking retrospectively, we can always say, yeah, though that thought process was not the right one. we can always do it in a better way.
Saira, but we can take it like the mind is saying, then remember we talked about the intellect. That one analyzes everything. See, it is also the mind. Okay, remember that. So the other part of the mind, if you want to say it that way, the little bit higher. So that is telling you what to do, what not to do, how our analyzing capacity that comes from the intellect.
I want to take that thing forward if I have another minute. Yeah.
Please.
That's why, like Ashaji mentioned in the previous class, that Antahkaran has all those four components. Man, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. We always talk about it. The duty of the mana is Sankalpa Vikalpa. That's the Vedantic language. Sankalp Vikalp. We see that flower, we want to get it. Mind will decide to do it or not to do it. Mind is little of a higher level. And the higher to that is that chitta. Chitta will do the chintan. Chitta will do that concentration and think and thought process. That is chitta always. Chitta does the chintan. That's the way I have remembered it, memorized it. So there are the four phases of the same mind actually. So mind, mana, buddhi, chitta, and then the deepest one is the ankara. So chitta will guide you when you deeply concentrate and think, what was that decision good or was that thought process good? That is the way we do that.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah. So the mind trains the mind. Okay. So do we have any other? So these were my questions that I had initially put in. How does one know the true capacity of the mind? Yeah. Please use the mic because otherwise people online will not be able.
Is it something like we talk about subconscious mind and conscious mind? So do you think infinite mind is something related to both of them? Subconscious. Normally our mind always works in the subconscious mind, right?
We are always on the subconscious.
Subconscious.
So I don't think mind is, so mind is always a subtle body. It's not a gross body. It doesn't have a form. You're saying that. Subconscious means what?
Yeah. No, subconscious, I think it is buried inside. It is deeper. But what we are talking right here is conscious mind only. Yeah. Yes.
Conscious mind, subconscious mind, we don't know. So
Right. We don't.
unless you go to the higher level.
You
it's
don't
not there.
access it in a normal.
But is
every day.
it something related? If you say infinite
No, we are
mind,
talking about only the mind.
infinite mind, no, is it-
Capacity.
No, infinite mind, that is different. If you are talking about the consciousness, that is infinite. But the conscious, we talked about the reflected thing, which is confusing for some, but it is a fraction of it is like looking in the mirror, your face, that kind of little bit mind. That is what we are operating under. That is the mind. And then the intellect is the one Jaiba was talking about, which one is telling you what to do. So that's what we were discussing. The intellect is the one guiding us. Mind is nothing but the warehouse, like I said before. It is just collecting information through all the senses. Whatever we see, hear, touch, feel, everything is stored. But then you compartmentalize it, analyze it with your intellect. That way you come to a conclusion of what to do, what not to do, how to do, and all that.
The other thing which came last time, I think it was last class only, that we need to avoid we need to not work at the spinal cord level, we need to work at the brain level. Spinal cord level means doing a reflex action. He said something, I reacted. So stop to react, think, and then do that. So that's another thing which came last time.
Yeah.
How does one know the true capacity of
So,
mind?
yeah. So obviously we all have infinite. So Swami says you have infinite capacity of the mind.
We do.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I am just operating at this body. Today this happened. Today someone almost cut me while I was driving and it annoyed me, or the guy was changing lanes too many times and that annoyed me. So my mind is not really looking at that capacity on a daily level. You know what I mean?
What do you do even if you know the capacity? It is a infinite capacity. It has. Nobody knows how much you can store in a, disk
But-
or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
the mind
Right.
has got an infinite capacity, but then we are also covering it with lot of veil. Okay,
And
most of the
that is why
time.
my next question also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most of the things we
How
are
do you-
covering it, and so we are not able to reach into the full capacity of the mind because of all our, samskaras and everything that is coming in the way. It is acting like a veil. You are not able to see that clearly. And that is where we need to be purifying the mind. Then only we will be able to reach the full capacity of the mind. And the full purification means that, you have to develop that equanimity. So like somebody is crossing, just change the thought. So it looks like they are in very busy,
Yeah,
some
or
very
very
urgent
much
work they are
hurry.
going.
Yeah.
Something that you have to do to purify that.
Yeah, it is one thing to, no, it's really something that all I'm saying is that I don't know the true capacity of the mind on a general basis, right? I'm just on a regular daily basis. How much they say you're only using 20% of your actual brain, first off. That is the physical side of it.
Yeah.
But
so,
mind side, I mean, I not even.
I just want to give an example that Sujata's father once said. Okay, when you go deeper into these practices, and one of the practices Uma talked about last time is breathing. When you do the breathing and then do the meditation, the mind gets pure and pure and pure. At some point, actually, the mind can decide what can happen into the exterior world. He used to say, many times he got, you can get actually that capacity where while walking, going there and the train is moving, you say, let the train stop. The train will stop.
Yeah.
Your mind can actually have that much of capacity. And so that is actually many of the yogis get there, and that is where they stop. And then, they are the ones who create problems later on because they think they are magicians.
Yeah.
And so that is actually a process that goes on, but you should not stop there. It just happens there. So that is an indication, but we are, that needs a lot of, sadhana, and the breathing and meditation is the only way.
So, if you try to increase the capacity, what I saw in practical life is the things which we are interested in, those things will always keep in mind. Some people like reading books and they read a lot of books, and everything, whatever they read, they like the scriptures, they remember that one. Some people like visual things, arts or some, it all depends on what kind of inclination that mind has. Those things it focuses more, and those are the things it tries to retain for longer time. So for that, we need the sadhana on which you want to keep that. Mind has capacity of focusing on the things and retain them for longer time, depending on what exactly it wants to store inside.
Shankaranji was mentioning by sadhana, we can achieve that level when you get direct connection. So you think what he is thinking. So you can get the things happen. You don't have to be a magician, don't have to show the miracles, but that connection happens. So you come to know what's happening and what you think will happen. That kind of connectivity these yogis achieve. That's what I think they are trying to say.
Agreed. But for us, okay, so the yogi, I understand. So if mind has such capacity, even us sitting here, why are we not able to use it then?
Because of the vikshepa, the disturbance of mind always keeps getting a disturbance. That's called the mal vikshepa. Mal vikshepa we have to get out by sadhana only. By repeated disturbance, what is happening during sushupti? What is happening during sushupti? That vikshepa goes away. We are getting the almost param anand during the sushupti, the reflection of it. So by removing the unnecessary disturbances of the mind, by focusing by meditation, focusing, we will remove all the disturbances. That's all we'll start getting that level, that anand. And many must have experienced it also in the life, by reaching that level.
Asha ji.
See, we don't practice it, I think, to remember things.
Okay.
I remember one lady I met and she told how she remembered. She said when they were very small, her father would tell them, give them 2 lines read them and tell them to remember, and next day come and repeat it. So every day he kept on increasing number of lines. Then it became a paragraph, then it became a page. And the kid had to remember next time, come back and tell everything. And she remembers everything. She was a doctor, she's a doctor, I forget the name. And in the hospital, she remembered all the patients, all their problems, everything was in her head. And that was how, she was so effective also. But go back to it, that means we don't use it. We just don't use it. That's all it is. If we had started from childhood, we would have, but we didn't.
So it's scientifically proven that everything what we see, interact, it goes into the brain daily, right? In the night, there is a process that happens that it tries to collect all the data, analyze and declutter them and move into different sections of the brain. But we don't know that it happens in the sleep, subconscious mind. That's what. So the intensity of that, what you saw on a given day, it stays for a longer time because it has a very strong imprint in the process. It stays more time in the mind. So if you ask, what did you eat yesterday? You don't remember. What did you wear yesterday? You don't remember. But if you have gone to a movie yesterday evening and watched a very intense movie, you remember it for at least a month and years, roughly, because that's the impression that is acting on the brain that retains for a longer time. So all these smaller routine things, mind don't give much importance for those. Eating, walking, visualizing the trees on a daily basis, you don't collect all that. That goes into the back of the mind somewhere, which retains there. So that is scientifically. But one more thing is what Ashaji said is a practice of giving exercise to the brain. And it is very important for all the adults who are aging because we naturally lose that tendency of remembrance. So we have to start doing that practice of remembering the numbers. We have a live example here. Satish is very good at remembering the numbers.
Right.
He tries to connect the dots by looking at those numbers. He's very good at. So immediately he recognizes when he saw somebody's car. I'm not good at. I don't remember the numbers. But visual pictures, I remember. I see picture, I'll remember it forever. So everybody has a different potential. So they have to use that as we progress.
Yeah.
I think it is focus. Focus is very important. Swami Vivekananda was well known for his photographic memory. He, when he was here, he would go to a library and became a member and got stacks of books, big ones. He would read everything and come back and return it and get another stack. So the librarian was wondering, what is he doing with all these big books, a lot of pages. And she asked him one day, are you really reading them? He said, yes, take this book, any page, you can ask me a question. He could tell what is written there with the comma, all the punctuations and the page number, everything. He says, I'm just an ordinary human being, but he is so focused in what he is doing. The same way when he was here, somebody took him to a shooting, a target practice somewhere. So there was like a target, that thing was there, and they gave a gun to him. Then you shoot. He just pointed, he shot it. He hit the middle. How did he do that? Focus. He has never took a gun in his hand before. So these are the things when we put our mind into it, like you said, something like Satish is doing, but I don't know if he is good at everything, remembering other areas. But he is interested in certain things and he can memorize and he can, there was an experiment with a professor. He took his college students. One day he said, okay, we are not going to sit in the class. Let's go to a movie. They all went. They were excited. And then 3 months later, he said, okay, let's go to this children's home. During Christmas, we will give them toy, we'll play with them, spend some time with them. They did that. And then another 6 months later, he asked them, write down what you did, that movie, what did you see? None of them remembered anything. Then he asked them, well, what do you remember going to the children's home? They remembered everything. They enjoyed it. See, there's a purpose also. if we put a purpose and we focus, we have the intention of learning certain things, we really do that. But we go through life just, grazing through like a cow in the grassland. We don't get anything into our mind.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can move on because just wanted to get down to, I think we read this last time, but if we want, we can read this. Om, you want to read?
On the one hand, you say, I am that, but when that is being beaten, you don't react. On the other hand, when that is abused, you react. When you realize that your inner Atma is the same in everybody, then any pain caused to anybody is your pain. But when you have body consciousness and anybody says anything derogatory about anyone else, you feel it is not directed towards you and it doesn't affect you. This essential truth is the heart of Vedanta. To understand this great secret of secrets, you should participate in such assemblies as this. You must listen, think over what is said, put into practice, and make it yours. Vedanta has emphasized these three things: Sarvana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. Sarvana means hearing. Whatever you hear, you should revolve in your mind. That is Manana. Then Nidhyasana is you hear, you should revolve in your mind. That is Manana.
Then Nididhyasana is putting it
That
into
is
practice.
putting. For example, the mother says, I have prepared a number of sweets. After knowing this, which is Natam, you see all these sweets on a plate. That is Dhyasam. Then when you eat these delicious sweets, that is
Pravishtam.
then you get happiness and strength. This unity of
Atum.
knowing, seeing, and experiences is the unity in the diversity, which is the real path to Ananda, eternal delight. Vairagya does not mean that you should give up everything and go to a forest. Vairagya really means you should stay where you are in whatever station of life you are in and understand the subtle nature of things while giving up desire based on the external aspect. It means that by using discrimination, you should know what to expect and what to reject. You should strive to recognize the divinity in every object you see and enjoy it. That is real Vairagya. That is the mark of a true human being.
Thank you. So, so one thing that I wanted to first, let's talk about what Swami says here. He says that when you have body consciousness, that's when you can say something derogatory about other people, basically, or you can, but once you see the oneness, it should not affect you. That is the hardest thing to follow, easiest thing to read, because our mind is so quick to come to a conclusion. It jumps to conclusion even before we know it. And sometimes people like me, tongue works before the mind also, so it will come out first on the tongue also. But I'm just saying that practicing this is the first thing. That's why Swami says it's the heart of Vedanta. The heart of Vedanta is to see that oneness, because that will reduce our emotions of love and hate. So that's my 2 cents.
We talked about it a little bit last week about Buddha and Ramana Maharishi, how they were detached from, they won't take the insults. And they said it is somebody talking about him. Ramana said it's talking about a person, Ramana. So for us, the problem is we are so identified with our body and mind. So if anybody says anything, we are not able to detach that, okay, I don't care. They are not talking about me. We honestly cannot say that. So this is a ego also. Mainly our ego comes in the way. And even if, somebody is talking about me, if I say, and better to avoid going that direction. But then we want to know, oh, did they talk about me? Or I want to know. Not only talking, even other things also, So it's because of our body, mind consciousness, we are so identified with it. We are not able to detach ourselves. Okay, if we can detach, then how do we identify everybody is me, you know? So that is a really a higher step to take, right? To see all of us are one. And Swami says in the previous one, if they talk about somebody else or abuse, we are not disturbed by it.
Yeah, we are not,
We
because
are
it's not
right?
our
It's not
thing.
me, right? Why should I bother?
Right. Yeah. No, the same thing that I just want to kind of bring this together before we go ahead, because we talk a lot about Vedanta and what Vedanta means. Advaita Vedanta basically is just this, the oneness that you have to see. And that's something that I think we should know before we go to the next step, where Swami is talking about Vedanta has 3 steps: Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. In fact, Swami Sarvapriyananda says it many times. He says, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, if none of them are for you, then better luck next life. He says that many times. I mean, so either ways, Shravanam is nothing but hearing. So Mananam is nothing but thinking about what you hear. Okay, but we all think about what we hear, but not the ones that he wants us to think about. Right? We think, yeah, but not the good. I mean, mind has to really be focused on the good versus the daily. So that is where I think that practice. Nididhyasana always is.
See, what you assimilate. Nididhyasana is putting into practice. No, manana is you assimilate, you go over. That's where the intellect comes, and you, whatever you heard, you read, and the satsang, you know.
But you're talking satsang. First thing is we have to listen to the right things.
Yeah, right. If you are in the satsang, I hope it is the right thing we are listening to, right?
Yeah,
And then we have to make the choice. Where are we going? What are we listening? This is up to us only, right?
Yeah.
It's not
I-
a little kids. The
would
adults
like
make
to-
the choice.
I would like to add one more step in this, and that is, Shraddha, First of
Shraddha.
all, when we, even before we get to this, Sarva Prayananda always quotes one example. If you want to go and learn physics, you go to a physics class, he's teaching physics. First of all, you have to have faith that what he is saying is true. If you start questioning that everything that he says, then, you will never be able to learn. So that actually is kind of between Sravana and Manana, because you have to think, what I heard, do I get it? And for you to get it, you have to have that Shraddha, and that is to say, yes, he is a professor of physics, what he says must be physics. So you have to, have that faith. Similarly, you don't go to an English class and expect to learn physics. So
Yeah.
So 2 cents on this, I look at the positive side here. So one is we are so lucky. We are in satsang and we are talking so many good things, and at least we are putting a step forward towards that goal.
Yeah.
So that's the first positive thing. So it's always good to be here, listen good things. Second is manana, like whatever you hear, when you will do manana is when you have given time to your brain, sit on one place, and we are not giving that much time on a daily basis, then it doesn't happen. So the moment we get up from here and then I have another engagement,
Yep.
and that's all. I'll be busy with that engagement. I'll be going out.
Yeah.
So the second part comes when you give time, whatever you listened before, do you have time to recollect and then think about it? So that's the second part. So we have to give some time in our daily life. Okay, yesterday I went to satsang. These are the things they discussed. So 5 minutes is enough. Nothing. We don't need to spend hours and
Yep.
hours. So 5 minutes, sit alone and then think about what did we do yesterday. We listened. What was that about? And then third one is a bigger step. That's a big leap to put it in a practice. So we are progressing towards that. Maybe as we mentioned, might not happen very often. It might happen once in a while that you put one thing that we discussed, one good thing, Definitely, I saw in many times in our lives, in our circle, I saw people doing good things, what they listen. And suddenly it shows up in some area, some day,
Yeah.
that whatever we listen is applied on that day. We don't need to apply on a daily basis thinking, okay, I need to do good, I need to good. That evolving comes, I mean, in a process. We are not born an enlightened people. It's okay to be like this, but whatever we listen here today, and someday I saw many people doing good things. That's fine. We are evolving. I mean, I am happy for to share that amount.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, very nice point.
One question, is it a must to have a manana? Why can't I just hear something and then go on practice it immediately?
You won't practice it. Your mind
No,
will not.
if you can do it, it's good for you. You just hear and then there you are practicing it. So you are skipping one step. But before going to the practice, do you understand what you heard? Not you, in general, I'm talking. Don't take it personally. Do we understand what we heard? So that is where the manana comes. First, we have to understand it. Without understanding, how do you practice?
So
How,
even
how,
if you,
how can we do that?
but even if you understand it, and that's two different things. Understanding intellectually, I probably understand, right?
Right.
All of us know what Vedanta is. Intellectually, we all get it.
I
Oh,
don't know
see
about that.
oneness, love all, serve all, easy,
No,
get it.
Right.
But how can we practice love all,
No,
serve all?
see, you say everybody gets, it's getting it is just you really truly understand. And then when you practice only, you really get it. Actually, I feel.
Yeah.
See, intellectual knowledge we collect. We collect a lot of, we read and we listen, we watch, we collect all the knowledge. But what does it do if we don't put it in practice?
Yeah.
See, all the knowledge is just like decorating the room. Swami once says, you have furniture in the room, wall pictures. It looks pretty. What does it do? So that's where the practice comes. Even if we don't do outwardly any seva to lift the mountain up, every little thing we change inside in ourselves, it helps the society. First, we have to change ourselves to do good, see good, then it automatically spreads. The rose doesn't have to advertise, I smell good, I am beautiful. The fragrance spreads everywhere in the atmosphere. The same way when we do the right things, we practice good things, it is not for other people to appreciate, but they can see it. That can inspire other person.
So Nitidhyasana, I want to just add something here. It has got two parts. One is putting into practice.
Mhm.
The second step is actually understanding. Understanding is whether I fully understand what, the meaning of what has been said. And then the Nitidhyasana, does it make sense to me? Is it something that I feel is something I should do? You may learn physics, but you may decide, I understand it very well, but that is not for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, I
Yeah.
want to be a doctor. So, so that is a part where, in Nitidhyasana, you also have to say, yes, this makes sense to me. And then, I apply that. Again, I want to give an example in our school, in the school days, I remember this.
Mhm.
So you here, you were talking about, that part, we learn, we just, mug it up, just take it by heart and go and spit it out in the class. We didn't understand a thing about what was
Yes.
taught. So that is where the manana comes. You have to go through the process of understanding what we learn. Other, just spitting it out in the exam, just for that, we used to study like that. So that step is important.
Yeah. Yeah. So our biggest, as we have always talked about, our biggest block is our own self, which is our ego. And we talked about, we recognize it and we are aware of it, and that's it. Because we can't do anything about that. Then how do we practice Nididhyasana then?
How do you practice? Who makes
Well,
you practice? We
self.
have to, yes.
Yeah.
So the self, we have to motivate ourselves, right? So we cannot just wait for somebody to make us practice or, spoon feed us. That is why we collect this knowledge and these methods. We have to motivate ourselves. Right? That the story about the elephant and the mahout, the elephant is so powerful, but the elephant doesn't know that power. And this mahout is controlling it with one stick in his hand. How does he do that? How does he make it behave? Only because he keeps practicing with that elephant. The same way our mind is like an elephant. We have to practice. We have to practice. Then we can somehow bring it under control to do something. So,
So 2 cents, Sairam. So whatever we listen, the good things, and we do manana also, like Nididhyasana is the tough part what we are talking about, putting it into the practice. So there are so many good things which we listen, but not everything that we can apply depending on what status we are in. Like some people go to the extreme to do seva. Are we there yet at that level? Right? Everybody has limitations. Somebody might do verbal help based on their level of capacity. Maybe we can assume some people go extreme, give some money. Some people go do some charity. So depending on their time availability or their constraints, whatever the other things that they need to meet, so they will do some kind of seva. So because I have seen people going on the streets, probably you all saw that, going on the streets, giving bath to the people who are lying on the roads,
Yeah.
having all these skin diseases. Can we go to that level at this moment? If we think of, we studied about it, people doing it, we manana, we did it, but can we go to that level? So depending on where we are, we need to start little smaller things, do smaller helps where you progress. At some point, maybe next birth, you might be at that level where you are going and like doing Sai Baba, Shirdi Sai Baba, doing service to the people with the tuberculosis and all these different diseases. He used to wash the feet of those people who are having all this. So we are not matured enough to go to that level. So that comes only during practice, or you born with that divinity inside you. So that's where I think 2 cents from my side. We are in evolving path. So it all depends on each individual's capacity and the spiritual level they are in.
Yeah, I agree.
So definitely it is individual capacity, but do not restrict. Whenever you get a chance, keep doing, keep doing. You, believe it or not, you take one step, God will come 10 steps, to hold your hand. So what you said is 100% right. Only thing is that should not be a restriction of not doing that. Okay, I'm not elevated like that, so I should not do it. You keep doing whatever you are doing. You keep trying to do this. Circumstances will happen. God will help you go in that path. That's what we have seen actually. We have seen you started, and see, when we came here, you know, small. You start a process. You start doing the voluntary. You start doing the seva, the charity. People are getting around. It's a snowball effect. It's a small effect. You start a good thing, things will start attaching to it. That's what I believe. So keep doing it. Keep doing. People will start attaching. You will get more encouragement. You will get more encouragement. So things will move in
So
that direction.
I'll stop you there because as long as it is all going positive, your mind, you are happy with it, it is okay. But when you face a challenge, then suddenly everything feels like, is this even worth it? Okay, because it is not, uh, you have to go beyond that to do a level of service, right? So that kind of acceptance should also be there. I don't know how else to.
Yeah, so I want to give, we all know Piyush Goyal. We have
Piyush,
seen
yeah.
him. So the Piyush Goyal family, one of the Goyals was Mahesh Goyal. He's a Dr. Mahesh Goyal, and he is somewhere in New Jersey, they live, right? But every tsunami or any earthquake or anything that happens, and there is a need for, immediate, he will be the first one to go there and do service to the needy. How do people come with that kind of a motivation? I do not know. So all I know is I'm not there. So we'll
Yeah.
have to, but that could be, it could be an inspiration. Look at people like that. If they can do that much, can I do a little bit? I think that we can start at work, just somebody who needs a little help, just do it out of love and help them to come out of where they are, out of the shell. And I think that itself is a big service. You feel, you get a satisfaction that is immeasurable.
Okay, no, okay. So yes, you get that satisfaction when that person gets the promotion and you don't get it. That is really not the satisfaction. But I'm just saying that happens.
Really, I'm telling you,
Ah.
as long as you don't, compete and think that, I'm just helping them because, you want to help them. But if you have an ulterior motive that, it should not be. But
Saira,
what
you
I'm
don't
saying is,
need ultimate.
my experience is the more you help others, the better, actually the benefit comes to you.
Agreed.
Yeah. If you
But
get the promotion, actually, that also happens.
no, that is when it is all positive. That's exactly what I'm saying. Sometimes life does not give you all positive. Jay bhai.
So here is the fun part comes. You are exactly spot on what happens with most of us, right? So we go and help and then keep helping, and some days you get some negative effect. You don't expect that it's going to happen to you, and you feel that I'm doing so much the good things. Why it
Correct.
happens to me? Because okay, so the caveat here is when you do because you are expecting out of something from it. That's why it hurts us. Most of us, why we get is because whenever we do good things, we are expecting out of something good out of it. So if we do not have that expectation, then you don't even think about it. Okay, whatever you did, you forgot already about it, right? That's what I mean. It's saying is easy. Even I'm saying it.
Yeah.
I'm not going through that. Yes, of course, I'm going through that problem. Sometimes I do, and it doesn't work out, and then I get upset. It natural process. The second part, which I would like to share, I forgot to tell it. So all we are talking about is doing good. But if you really go back to our natural living in India, like in the olden days, so people morning they go and do mugu, like in front of. Why they
Rangoli.
do that?
Yeah.
There is a lot of science behind our living style in India.
Rangoli.
Rangoli, they
Rangoli.
do. So there is a lot of science behind in every action we do in India, but we forgot. We got away all that slowly, modernizing ourselves, thinking we are not modern. I mean, we're modernizing anyway. So, so, so this they put stickers. So this rangoli is made out of
Rice.
the rice flour.
Mhm.
That is to feed all the natural insects that are walking around that, and they have that food. And some people to go extreme, they will also go to that snake where the snakes they put milk.
Yeah.
So these are all practices they used to provide to do service. And unknowingly it comes to our practice that we don't feel that we are doing service. Now whatever we do, we feel we are doing service now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But those days it was not part of thinking like that, because crow, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So those things were taught as a tradition,
Mhm.
so that you don't think that I'm doing a great thing to the something else outside. It was a practice and never thought of I'm doing something. So
Right.
that's where we need to go back and think of doing it on a daily basis. Forget about it. The moment you put something there, it's gone. So those are the things which I observed in my childhood. Now I remember why they did it like that in the olden days.
Right.
So to answer
Thank you.
Bhavaniji's question, when it happens bad, then you will all retract and will stop doing it.
Yeah, yeah. It does take you
So
back.
that's why
that
this
minute at least.
formula. That's why this formula of doing the bhakti, also reading satsang,
Mhm.
listening to good things. So that's why you have to keep doing the other things also, not just the charity, cleaning your mind by doing the bhakti, bhajans, prayers, then listening to Vedanta. It's all the aspects are, that's why all the aspects are important. Satsang is important. All this will lead you to that phase that negativity will settle down. You will not feel that hurt that much as you used to get hurt earlier. It will settle down.
That I agree.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
there's no other fourth way. This is the way. Combination of everything, bhajan, satsang, reading Jnana, doing charity, this is the best combination. Whoever designed it did the good job. Because that
Whoever
there is no
designed
other fifth. There is no other way. There's no-
That's the Bhakti Marga Raja Yoga and all that, right? Karma Yoga,
Everything
everything.
is,
covers
that's
all
why.
that.
That's why these are all part Vedanta. The pre-qualification, they always say to do all these things, then you read Vedanta. Otherwise, that will
Yeah.
give you ahankar only. That will not give you anything else except for that clutter in your brain that we have.
Yeah, that I
Vedanta.
know what it is.
Vedanta, yes.
Yeah.
So that everything is important.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it's true, God will come 10 steps if you go one step. But on the other hand, all his devotees, all his bhaktas, uh, really didn't expect anything from him. They went through a lot of hardship. That seems to be the norm. But they didn't take it, their attitude was accepting and still loving him. So it's very hard to reach that postgraduate degree. We all want him to keep coming and giving us positive things,
Yeah.
but the tests get harder, I think, as you ascend.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong in falling. You know,
There's-
the wrong is to fall and then not try to rise again. That's the thing. That's the thing. We have to keep doing that.
I think what you said is exactly right, because that's required to, when you are passing sixth grade, you go to seventh grade, there will be exam like that. When you are in the spiritual path, so there will be an exam to see what extent you are evaluating yourself to spirituality. So as you go deeper and deeper, the hardships will be more and more harder.
Yeah, right. Yeah, please go ahead.
I think instead of like thinking so, because these are very structured, right? So the thing about service is it should just be natural. And I think that where we get upset is when we are doing something for someone that we care about. And so when you, but it shouldn't be so like, I didn't know about the Rangoli thing. So thank you for that. Apparently a lot of our traditions have been lost, which is sad. So now we have to come up with these things to do. But I think when it just comes naturally, and it's innate in us. It is innate in us. Just to do things naturally, and then we don't think about it, because now we've got this, which is good because we need that in our toolbox so that and then how do we practice it? But yeah, I think Manoj ji said, like, with the sci-fold, right? You've got the bhajans, you've got the this, you've got the that. But the service piece, like, it shouldn't be so, I have to do this. It just should be natural, and it is natural in us to do it.
I definitely want to interrupt here. Please allow me to. So natural will come. Just wait. Just keep doing what Guruji is telling us to do.
No, I'm saying
Natural-
it is.
No,
it
no,
is,
natural
it is
will
already,
come.
it is
Even if-
already in
Oh,
us.
No,
very
no,
good.
I
Yeah.
mean,
What I'm saying is, if it is not natural, do not worry. Just keep doing it. Just
Right.
keep doing it. Practice, that will become your sanskara, that will become your habit.
That-
And it will be natural after
That's
some
the
time.
point I'm trying to say. I'm saying, like, don't think so much about it. It's when you're reading all this, that's what I'm saying. It'll come to you. And there are other things that will come to you. And I shared it with Sujata yesterday, something that happened this week that I didn't even realize what I said when I said it I was in a leadership class. And what I said, and I said it now, then after that, I'm like, that was not me. That was Swami. That was everything that I learned. And the instructor is like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. And that was totally all of this. So even though I'm like not even in first grade yet, something did stick. But the whole thing about service, right? Or any of this, I think sometimes, like, instead of be so structured. It'll just come.
Yeah.
Right? Not to, yeah.
That is the right example, what Savitaji is saying. You took one step, God came 10 steps ahead of it and made you do all those things in the leadership class, which you did not expect it, but it happened without you asking for it. It just, that will keep happening. Just keep doing, things will start to happen here.
Correct. Thank you. So this goes back again to detachment, and Swami is talking about detachment here. We did already discuss that. If do people have anything to add, we can definitely go back and do it. I just wanted to talk about, how do you practice this kind of detachment, especially on the objects that you see and the object that you enjoy. Swami actually says, hey, you see it, you enjoy it, that's it. That's the end of that. But what we enjoy, we want to go back to it. That is not real detachment. So again, how do you, those are things that I think for each one of us, those are the takeaways, I would say. So those are the takeaways that we can actually focus on while when we talk about detachment, using discernment, whatever it is. Anyone has anything to add, we can do here before we move on, because that's the last piece. So this we have already discussed in the past. I just put it here. Yeah, please go ahead.
So I think, for detachment, service is a very important one, and we need to have compassion. And how do we develop that compassion? Compassion can come only through service.
Yes.
So we, to practice this, that is where we have to practice more service, selfless service. And that is really, only way. If the mind cannot be controlled, that is the way to control the mind,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so we can move on. And this is the final. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, Ashaji. I was wondering why you're not saying anything.
Yeah, Subhadra is trying to participate.
Oh, thanks,
Yeah, because Uma was kindly looking at me earlier. So I just thought about this. We often keep asking ourselves, are we progressing?
That's
So
true.
I just heard from what all you just said, that to know that we are spiritually progressing, if the hardships are getting more difficult, that means we are spiritually developing. So Sairam.
We can measure our progress. I feel the higher classes you go, the exams are getting tougher, like Jyoti was saying, right? So suppose you are taking the tougher questions and tougher exams, does it mean that you have come up in the spiritual path? And sometimes it feels like that the things go the way you don't want it to go. And then how do you handle it? That is where you see how our mind, the capacity of the mind, or how are we progressing? That is the test for us to look inside. How am I handling this situation?
Correct. Yeah.
I have gone through, and sometimes I thought I failed. At that moment, if you don't handle it the way you thought you would,
Yeah.
but somehow you don't do that, then you look back and see, where did I go wrong? What can I do better? The next time might come or may not come. So that is one way of looking at ourselves to see if we are progressing in life. And then one more thing I just add, that equanimity. If we keep that in mind, that is also a great tool to have equanimity in our mind, take good and bad equally. Then the detachment comes after that.
I think Kunti said it very well. She begged for bad things to happen so she could think more of God. So there may be bhaktas who praise God. I think I've read a few of them. Anytime, anything, because that does lead to detachment in a way. Each way God is helping us. And I don't know if you can praise him for bad things happening, but there is a
So-
purpose. There's a method in his madness, I think.
Yeah, so what is good and bad is what we are looking at this world. You know, this body mind complex. Oh, I don't have food to eat is bad. That's, yeah. So those are our, but at the same time, a rishi or a sadhu sitting up in the Himalayas or wherever doesn't care about that meal. That's not important for him. So again, I think hardships as we define it is very much based on this earth, th- and our body level. That's all I think. Our attachment, our ego, our thing.
I think we have little time left. So I want to just go on lighter vein. Little.
Bhagavata Vahini, Chapter
So
7.
the hardships, what we
the
think are
counselor.
coming when we spiritually progress.
Vidura
because
continued his admonition
when
of
you are spiritually
Dhritarashtra.
progressing, all these
You have
norms,
reached this advanced
societal
age,
norms
but
are
still,
human
without any shame or
standards,
hesitation,
Correct.
you
are
are leading a
different
dog's
in the
life.
spiritual level.
You may not be ashamed of it,
So,
but I
because
am.
now you are actually
Fire
not
upon
following
you.
the norms
Your method of
a
spending your
normal
days
human
is
being,
worse than that of a crow.
because you know now that is not normal.
Dhritarashtra
Different
couldn't hear
spiritually, you
anymore.
need to follow
He
the morals,
cried,
you need to follow
"Oh,
to your
please,
heart.
please
All
stop
these
this.
things which
You
makes
are
it
torturing me to death."
make it
These are
difficult
not the
for you.
words that one brother
For
should
ordinary
address
people,
another.
you see something
Hearing
that,
you,
okay, yeah, you
I
talk
feel you are
this,
not
but
Vidura, my brother.
yeah, spiritually
He would not
progressing
have
person will
reprimanded me
not
so
leave it at that
cruelly.
level. They just walk
For
away from this. No,
is
no.
Dharmaraja,
God's
with whom I
fountain,
am now a
we need to do
stranger?
something.
Have I
That
taken
creates
refuge
lot
with
of
an
hardships
alien?
for us to overcome
What is this
and
you are
to bear.
saying? Why
Do
these
that
harsh
way.
words?
So that is a challenge
Dharmaraja
for
is
a
fostering
person
me
who is
with great
spiritually
love and
progressing.
care.
That's where we
How
all
can
get
you
the
declare
problems
that
because our
I am leading
brain,
a
our
dog's
heart,
life or a
everything now
crow's?
use
It is a
unified.
sin, even if we entertain
Because I
such
think it's
ideas.
not the normal standard.
This
Normal
is just
standards
my
are always for
fate
normal
and
people,
nothing
but not
else.
for the spiritual person.
Dhritarashtra bent his head
Okay,
and
this is
moaned.
just our life application, and we can
At this,
end
Vidura
with
laughed in
Om and
derision.
Three Shantis.
He
Bring
said,
awareness to the moment.
"Have
Watch
you no
watch your
sense of
thoughts come and
shame
go. This is a
that you should
practice
talk
that we have
thus?
been trying to follow.
Dharmaraja
We
might,
did a little
out of his
meditation
goodness,
regarding that.
care for you
So,
more than his own father.
I think I
He might
sent
look
that
after
video
you
out,
with
and if
a
it has
love
not
greater
gone
than
through,
your own
please
sons.
let me know.
This is but the
And
reflection
we
of
can
his
definitely
character.
work on that.
That
So
is
with
but the
that, let's end with
amplification of
Om
the
and Three
significance of his
Shantis.
name. But
Om
should you not plan for your own future? One leg of yours is already in the grave, and you're blindly filling your stomach in comfort and rolling in luxury.
Sai Ram. Thank you all for participating.
Reflect for a moment.